Greetings, Batavia Mayor Jeff Schielke speaking to you on Friday, August 12th, 2022. And I've got a few announcements to make and some pieces of news that I want to share. Perhaps one of the nicest things I can report this week is that the city, the Park District, the Batavia Historical Society, and the Depot Museum were the recipients of a joint award from the Dunham Foundation in Aurora to create a historic sign program for the downtown Batavia area. And we've been working on this now. The four groups, the Batavia Library is also a partner in this. And so it's all those folks who have been working on coming up with what signs we should put up and where we should do them. So this morning we were out, we walked, and we obviously need to put one down at Bellevue Place on South Jefferson Street where Mary Todd Lincoln was in 1875, and talk a little bit about that program. Then we're going to do quite a bit on Batavia Avenue at the Episcopal Church and the Congregational Church and the Methodist Church. And we're also going to have some signs that will tell some stories about the days that Dwight D. Eisenhower and John F. Kennedy both came to Batavia, and kind of ironically they both stopped and did something at the intersection of Batavia Avenue and Wilson Street. And we're going to have two different signs which will talk about what days they were there and what they were doing. And kind of ironically, if you look at American history, Dwight D. Eisenhower gets the credit for being the first president to put in place the U.S. space program. And John F. Kennedy, the next one elected president, took the initiative and put the challenge out for the U.S. to land a man on the moon by the end of the 1960s, which they did. And then kind of an interesting tie-in in Batavia, right where all this was taking place with those two guys being in our town, was the Methodist Church 100 feet away. And in 1915 to 1918, the minister of the Methodist Church was a minister by the name of Reverend Fay Arnold Moon, who ends up being the grandfather of Buzz Aldrin, who put the American flag on the moon. So we got some really unique ties to history. We also we're going to put a sign down by the city council chambers outside that will tell the story that in the late 1960s there was a company here by the name of Dunbar Capital. They had a division called DK Aerospace, and in the council chambers was made the flex lines, as they called them, that moved the fuel and power through the rocket that landed on the moon in 1969. So that came out of Batavia. And then just down the street was the Shumway Foundry, which for about a 30-year run made the molds for the Academy Award or the Oscar. So we've really got some interesting things to share with people, and there's more to come, as they say in the Tonight Show, with other different signs we're going to put up. But Dunham gave us a very nice grant. We're going to have some beautiful signs made, and we're now out citing where we can put these signs, because when you start putting signs in the ground, you got to be careful that you don't hit wire or pipe or all this other good stuff. So we've got some stuff that we want to do in that regard. So that's one announcement. Another announcement I have is that Batavia High School's homecoming is going to be the weekend of September 16, 17, 18. And what's interesting about that is the Batavia High School staff this year has reached out and created an alumnus association, which I just met with yesterday. And on Saturday morning of the homecoming, which will be the 17th, they're going to open up Batavia High School, and we're going to go into the BFAP room with a big screen and do a program about the history of Batavia High School. And anybody that wants to come is invited. The classes of 1966 and 67 are planning to have kind of a joint get-together. I'll call it a reunion. They're going to do some stuff later in that day. They're going down to Funway and just have a get-together from 4 till 10. And there'll just be a lot of different stuff going on. But right now, with the internet, they're hoping that we get all the word spread, and certainly anybody in town that would like to come to the Saturday morning program at 10 o'clock out at the high school on the 17th, I think you would find it interesting to hear some of the unique stories of American history that tie into Batavia High School. So we're going to be doing that. And then another good piece of news is I found out this past week that after a year's absence, the Batavia High School Athletic Department has put back together the Wolf Lundberg announcing team, and they're going to be coming back this year and will be broadcasting the Batavia football and basketball games. And I know there's a whole bunch of folks, especially some in our senior living communities, that are really happy about that because our teams are good and they have fan clubs, and by having this available to watch a TV in the comfort of their area, many of these older Batavia residents are very pleased to have that news come forth, that they're going to do that. And just another couple of notes here. We've got some other stuff kind of popping in town. Out on the old Krabby Broil restaurant, which is on Randall Road right to the north of the Pride gas station. They've just erected a big banner across the whole building announcing that, let me make sure I get the name right, the Chicken Salad Chick restaurant is coming in there. And I am told they have several of these in central Illinois, and they're very popular. It's a restaurant that's main ingredient is chicken salad, but they're coming to Batavia at that location. We are finalizing the plans for the, the construction down in front of Menards of another restaurant. Culver's will be coming to Batavia, and so we've got some interesting things happening. And as I talked about last week, we've got others that are kicking the tires and asking a lot of questions. So there's a lot to be talked about here in both the near and the far term. And look at my list here. Oh, one final thing I would like to report is I had the opportunity this week to meet with some of the folks from the Kane County Highway Department. And I want to tell you, that is one of the better government agencies we have. They are a strong partner with all the cities in Kane County. They do good work. They know where the weaknesses in the system are. Right now they're working with us about, and this may take a while, but we're going to rebuild the intersection up at Batavia Avenue and Fabian there by the Homestead and Campana, because we do have some accident history there. And they're going to kind of straighten that out a little bit. So that's in the works. And one of the other intersections nearby us that has now started some construction, although they tell me it's going to be a while because there's huge amounts of utility issue, is out at West Main Street and Bliss Road, where there's like two different legs of that intersection. If you think about it, there's the leg where Fabian comes into Main Street, then you go down Main Street, 700 feet, and then there's another leg of Bliss Road that comes north out of Sugar Grove. And the county's plan is they're going to go south of Main Street into the farm fields there, pretty close to the Batavia Clark Park out there, and they're going to straighten the road out. So Bliss Road will gradually meander north and come into Main Street at Fabian Parkway. So that'll make it a straight shot there, and you won't have to get off and go up to a traffic signal and get on another one. So they have started construction on that, although they told me there's specifically electric lines all over the place out there that are going in the ground in different directions, on poles, not on poles, and it's going to take quite a while to get all that kind of prepared and put back together and moved before they can actually build the road. So that's kind of my report for the week. I think those are some nice highlights for us all to look forward to in the days ahead. And I look forward to talking to you all next week. Have a great week.